Your Place or Mine is finally here, bringing Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon back to the big screen. Just in time for Love Month, the newest Netflix rom-com movie was released. But we're sorry to say that we only gave it a 3 out of 10. There are many reasons why this rom-com didn't exactly make you gush over the couple. The main stars, Ashton and Reese, have had a lot of experience acting in rom-coms. You may remember them from popular films like Valentine's Day and How Do You Know? But with this one, it seems like they lost all the rom-com charm. Ashton, who is portraying Peter Coleman, is a nice, laid-back guy who is the kind of wealthy that spends $25 on a glass. He also apparently writes and can't commit to a lady after 6 months. That was so chaotic, right? Well, that's just one of the many things about the movie that gives us the ick. Ashton has played the girl magnet character quite a few times by this point, so it comes as no surprise to us to see him successfully portray the "I can't commit to a relationship" dilemma. But when it comes to Peter Coleman being a writer, let's just say, Ashton tried. We'll delve deeper into Peter's role as a writer in the narrative, but for the time being, let's all accept that Ashton failed to impress us in that sense. Reese Witherspoon, who portrays Debbie Dunn and is best known as the actress of the classic Legally Blonde, has also starred in a number of amusing films over the course of her career. She did a terrific job of rocking the hands-on, determined, sexy single mom role, which may be why this movie still received a rating of 3. She did irritate us with those sticky notes all over her house, so we know she was successful in that part. Reese does a good job of depicting the type of mother whose child is the center of her universe, though. Moreover, Zoe Chow, who plays the role of Minka, gave that character a lot of humor despite having a quite cliched backstory. Another noteworthy character is Tig Notaro's portrayal of the exceedingly uninteresting Alicia, who occasionally makes an appearance. I was left wondering, who is this anyway? During the entirety of the movie, because Tig's voice and tone most likely couldn't convey her witty, sarcastic nature. It's still a rom-com, so you could be thinking, it feels wonderful to see cliches every once in a while. But you already know that there are cliche films that, despite being overly sweet and predictable, are tolerable and even adorable to watch. This film, however, is not it. Why? There were certainly a lot of things that transpired in this movie, so let's try to go over their plot piece by piece now. The plan is for Debbie and Peter to swap homes for a week so that Debbie may attend a 1-week course and Peter can look after her son Jack. Initially, the film reveals that Debbie and Peter had a one-night stand many years prior, but ended up becoming friends because, well, Peter struggles with commitment, and they remained in the best friend zone for 20 years. But just as you began to believe that the film would actually develop that plotline convincingly, it shifted its attention to Debbie's child's desire to play hockey. Then it shifted back to Debbie learning that Peter still desired to write and publish a book before returning to the main issue. That is, them realizing their true feelings. The plot of the movie seemed to be all over the place, and as a viewer, you're no longer sure what it's actually about. It was actually kind of interesting that Peter was a writer, but regrettably, the film didn't even bother to establish that aspect of him very well. We can see throughout the film that Peter really wanted to pursue a literary career, but because the movie never gave his writings the due importance, we are unable to fully appreciate it. For a main character like Peter, it ought to have been a big event, but it appeared that he wasn't all that enthusiastic about it. Instead, we get to see Peter more as a cool man who wants to encourage Debbie's son in stepping outside of his comfort zone as the film progresses. Also, there were other flaws in Debbie's persona. How about the reason she wants to study? Why is she such a hands-on parent? Many things in her character may have been developed well to provide a better reason for the things she was doing in the film, but that didn't happen. There were so many things going on that it seemed like there were no moments for the two to genuinely display their chemistry. There wasn't really much of a chance for the viewers to sense the sparks between them because the majority of their scenes consisted of just them communicating through their screens. So what are your thoughts so far? Do you agree that Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon didn't have good chemistry as actors? Comment with your thoughts below. Given that this kind of plotline is a perennial favorite for rom-com lovers, it's disappointing that Peter and Debbie weren't able to make viewers swoon over their performances. Take, for example, Love, Rosie, which has an almost similar plot with this movie, The main actors are best friends and they try to find out if they can ever be more than that. But no matter how this kind of plot gets repeatedly used all the time, it's the actors acting that definitely sells these kinds of movies. Sadly, Ashton and Reese's attempts at it failed, but nonetheless, taking the main characters aside, the acting in the film was generally awful. With the exception of Reese, none of the actors' performances appeared at all convincing. Although they acted casually because it was a rom-com, this turned the movie boring. Their remarks were also quite dull, and at times it was painful to listen to them. It's such a waste to see these amazing performers fail in their parts for this film because the performance wasn't really satisfactory. The film's cinematography was decent, but not particularly noteworthy. By selecting two opposing places, they were obviously attempting to highlight the differences between the types of lives that Debbie and Peter were leading. And by opposite, we mean that Peter's residence is more hectic and lifeless, whereas Debbie's is cozier and more like a home. Peter's apartment gave out the typical vibes of a city, whereas Debbie's place had bright and fun shots, so you could easily tell the difference between the two locations. Is your place or mine the type of rom-com movie you would want to watch? Let us know your opinions below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to watch more videos like this from our channel. It's obvious that Your Place or Mine failed in its attempt to become the newest romantic comedy sensation. We gave this movie a 3 since it was a cliched film that we wouldn't actually watch again. Next time, we hope Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon will try harder.